Hey everybody out there, welcome to a new episode of the Drunken Cockatoo. Right here in beautiful sunny Dunedin, Florida, right outside of Clearwater Beach we are. Today's show is a very beautiful show about the beautiful destination called Sin City, Las Vegas. Got a couple stories here.
Yes,
Lucky
sir.
Leo's got some stories about Las Vegas. I got a couple of stories. Mine are a little older than his. We did the Buffett dedication for our first one that's out. We also have Old Key West out. We did a show on New Orleans. Today we're going to do a show about Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're also going to talk about some old cocktails and food that was actually invented in Las Vegas. And we're going to have a really great show. We're going to do a great cook. We're going to sample the food. Leo's going to teach you how to make a drink called the Atomic Cocktail, which was invented in the 1950s by the Chamber of Commerce of Las Vegas and was actually used as a campaign to bring people in there to visit. And I guess they try to make it sound like the only place in the world to get an atomic cocktail was in Sin City. But so you've been there before, Leo, huh?
I have been.
Tell me the story about your trip in there.
So last time I was in Vegas, I actually had the pleasure of going on fight night. It was like fight weekend in Las Vegas. Big.
That's huge in Vegas.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they always have like the heavyweight championship fights there and all that.
It was packed all weekend before and after the fight. People came. It was actually Amir Khan versus Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't know
that
if
one.
you remember that. That was a while back. But
man, that would have been awesome to be there for that one. Yeah.
It was a great experience. Had a spectacular time. A bunch of my cousins actually took me out there, and we had a ball. Vegas is always such a crazy time. You see all the crazies come out. And
never sleeps.
Never sleeps.
It's known for, believe it or not many people know this fact, but it's also a place where people go to drink. I don't know if you knew that before, but it's
most of the casinos are serving free drinks, so stuff gets out of hand in a hurry. I'm not that big of a gambler, but I was with my cousins, like I said, and they throw some money around. I remember being at the roulette table, and I'm betting like $10, $20 chips. We're all kind of throwing it down on our numbers on the table. And my cousin just gets a rush and throws $20,000 on a roll.
One roll.
For him, he didn't even blink an eye. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Number didn't come. He didn't hit. Walked right away like nothing happened. So,
there goes a new Harley Davidson motorcycle.
For me, I was hurting more than he was. Like, I was thinking about it. But, we got back to the party and things like that. But I'll tell you what, my favorite thing in Vegas, and maybe this is not as popular as everybody else, but my favorite thing in Vegas was the pool parties, man.
Oh, man, the pool parties are world famous in Vegas. I've been to a couple myself,
out of this world. Out of this world. The music, the vibes. I mean, out there by the pool. I want to say it was on a rooftop. I mean, best time I had. I think it was like on a Sunday day.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's cool. I went out there. Let me tell you, I hate to show my age, but when I was out there, the Landmark Hotel was still up, and that was the one that looked like the Space Needle, where all it was just an elevator shaft that went up, and it looked like a flying saucer.
Yeah.
Right after we got back, me and my friend Big Sam, when we got back, they tore the thing down. But I remember I was 22 years old, I think, the first time I went, and I had lost my leg like the year before, and my buddy Big Sam was taking me to get me out of the house and stuff,
Nice.
And he had plans for me, which I didn't know at the time, but I'll tell you later. And so anyway, I had saved up $1,000, and I think my dad gave me $200 too, and he said, "Go have a good time, son. You've had a hard road." And so anyway, I got there, and they're giving me free drinks, right? And I'd been in the hospital for like 5 months when I lost my leg, and I'd been out for like 6 months, so I wasn't really the professional that I achieved later in life as far as consuming alcohol. And so anyway, excuse me. So anyway, I went out there, and I started playing roulette.
Yeah.
And I started losing my ass. And I swear to you, I forgot how it went, but I was drunk, and I remember when I spent the last $20 that I had of the $1,200 in the first night that I was there.
Oof, yeah.
I had got 2 greens, and there's only 2 greens on a roulette wheel. There's like 50 or 60 reds, 50 or 60 blacks, and on the opposing sides of the roulette wheel, there's a green.
Okay.
And so I got 2 in a row, and I was mad as hell, so I bet like my last $25, and the only thing I bet, I probably would have only won a couple of dollars, but I bet that I wouldn't get another green. And I swear to you, I got another green. 3 greens. And so I started bitching and cussing and moaning and everything. And here comes the pit boss, which
boy.
Yeah, those guys are like the mafia out there,
Yeah.
you know. And
They don't mess around.
Yeah, so they come out and they escorted me out of the place, and so I was all depressed. I went back to the hotel room. I think I might have stopped and had another drink on the way or something. And I got all depressed. And then another buddy of mine was out there when we met, and he took me to the Hoover Dam and all that. And that's when it came. You know, my friend I was telling you, Big Sam, he brought me out there.
Yeah.
And he knew that I was in the hospital for 5 months, and I had been, so he brought me to a place called the Bunny Ranch. And I don't know if I should be sharing this with the general public, but the Bunny Ranch is the same place that the HBO had the Cat House. Remember the Cat House series? And it's a legal house of prostitution in Las Vegas. And on the show on HBO, that Dennis Hoff guy that died, he owned it. He was a big character on it. And I guess it was like a promotion for the place, because you go out there and they would ask on the show like how much for this girl, and they would say like $6,000, and people were like happily pay it, you know. But we didn't. It didn't ever cost anywhere near $6,000. But anyway, we had a great time, and he really helped me out. It was good, you know. It was good for my head after being in the hospital and losing my leg and. My girlfriend, I actually came up here from Miami to see if I wanted to stay here, and I got hit, and I was in the hospital for 5 months, so I never went back to live, so like I had a girlfriend back there.
Right.
And so anyway, so that was good, you know, that was good to get going and do that. And then I went another time, and my same friend, Big Sam, now this is like 15 years, 16, 17 years later.
Okay.
Just like your cousin, my buddy Big Sam, he owned an oil company, so you know he's got money.
Right.
We don't get money, means nothing to him. And me and him, we went into this place. I got to tell you, Lucky, this is a God's honest truth. We went into this place called the Diamond Club and the Paris Club.
Okay.
And you know I do stand-up comedy, and I'm a comedy writer and stuff. And this poor bartender was working in this place. And I don't know what it was, but me and my friend were drinking Jack Daniels, and I just targeted this guy. And this whole place was just a big, like, round bar, and there's a bunch of people sitting around. And I attacked him. I mean, not viciously, verbally, you know, but I was just chopping on him. And the whole place was roaring, laughing at him and everything. And this went on, and me and my friend Big Sam, we had 40 shots. We counted. Give or take a couple, 40 shots of Jack Daniels. And then we walked out, and he started playing craps. And in 30 minutes, he lost $30,000, just a little bit under $30,000. And I remember he was so drunk, he was trying to throw the damn, you know what a craps table looks like?
Yeah.
Like Sharon Stone in the movie Goodfellas and all that. And, or Casino, excuse me.
Right.
And, you know,
throwing the dice.
He was throwing them, and he couldn't even hit the table. Half the time they were going off, and the pit boss was getting pissed.
Yeah.
So he gave it to me, and I threw it, and I missed the table. So anyway, we lost $30,000, and we ended up. They threw us out of the place, you know. We went and slept it off, and then my friend, he's a big gambler, so he has all these points that he amassed for when he was gambling.
Yeah.
So we had to get on a plane to go to Reno because they got this big warehouse, and according to how many points you have, you can get a motorcycle, a car, you know, a vacuum cleaner, according to how much you amass. If you're in that gamblers club thing.
Right.
So me and him, we're drinking again because we're hurting so bad. You know, this is 25 years ago. And we were hurting so bad, we were drinking again. And by the time that plane landed in Reno, we were hammered again. And here's one of the funniest stories that I'll ever tell you. If anybody follows UFC, if you ever watch a UFC, you know, Dana White, the cage fighting and all that, one of the biggest heroes of all time is Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
He was the world's most dangerous man, is what they call it. So anyway, me and my friend, we're off. He's carrying my suitcases. We're walking through the airport in Reno, and I see Ken Shamrock walking right at us, and he's got like two bags. And I go, "Hey, look, it's Ken Shamrock," to my friend. And my friend looked at him, and we were so drunk, we just kept walking. And Ken Shamrock put his suitcases down on the ground, and he was going to like shake our hand and all that. And we just walked back at him. And I remember looking over my shoulder as I'm crutching away, and we're headed toward the bathroom. We had to, you know, pee really bad.
Right.
And he stopped me, like he was puzzled. And anyway, so we go in the bathroom, and there's about, no exaggeration, there's about 6 stand-up urinals in the men's back room, and every one of them's got at least 10 or 12 people in line waiting to pee in this place. It's a super busy airport.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, we're drunk, and we're talking, we get up, and so me and my buddy Sam, we get in the urinals at the same time. And Sam, we were peeing, you know, and Sam looks over at me, and he goes, "That really was Ken Shamrock, wasn't it?" And I was drunk, just kidding around. And I go, yeah. I go, that was him. And I go, lucky he didn't say anything about us not stopping and talking because I would have whooped his ass. And I turn around and Ken Shamrock's standing behind me waiting in line to pee. I swear to Christ. And I was like, and he just started laughing, and I was like, and then we shook hands and all that kind of stuff. But
funny.
Aside from gambling, which is the number one thing, the other thing that's probably is equally as big in Las Vegas is the food scene, man. Like with the buffets, and you got the gourmet restaurants.
Goodness, yes.
And when I was out there, I remember there was this one chef, Chef Andolini. And he had he was from New York, and he had the #1 Italian restaurant out there, and people would just stand in lines for hours and hours to get there. And then for some reason, he got disillusioned with the cooking of food and what he thought that it was too similar, and he thought he was an artist beyond means. And so he was kind of like going to quit cooking. And this other young guy named Chef Benito, he came in, and they were kind of didn't like each other, and Andolini was trying to figure if he wanted to leave and let this guy take over the scene, and eventually he did, but it was featured on that show, 30 Minutes. And we here at the Drunken Cockatoo have obtained that film from 30 Minutes. It describes the whole rivalry and the outcome of the two greatest chefs from Las Vegas. So
excellent. What
we're going to do right now, Lucky Leo, is we're going to go, when we come back, we're going to feature a couple mainstay dishes from Las Vegas. But while we prepare that and we heat the oven and everything, we're going to go ahead and we're going to let the fans watch the 30 Minutes film about Chef Andolini, Chef Benito, and it tells the whole story, and it's very intriguing. So watch that, and when we get back, we're going to cook a beautiful Las Vegas meal for you, and then Leo's going to turn you on to a classical Las Vegas drink. So enjoy this. It's called the Food Fascist. That's who they called Andolini. They called him a food fascist. So enjoy this, and we'll be right back.
Tonight, we have a very special show for you, offering up a look into the world of big-time culinary business, or in layman's terms, the world's best restaurants. Tonight, we will take you behind the scenes of two of the best chefs to ever hit the New York restaurant scene. One, Antonio Andolini, was the highest paid and most sought-after chef, until one day, he just quit, stating that he could no longer go with the hypocrisy and redundancy of the food world. His critics now call him a food fascist. The other chef we will feature is Bernard Benetton, who stepped into the food scene as Antonio Andolini was stepping out. His outlook on the food scene was the polar opposite of Chef Andolini's, and as a result, he is now the #1 chef in his New York restaurant, simply called Rainbow Vista. So, without further ado, I start my interview with Antonio Andolini to find out why he quit the food business and is now considered a food fascist. Welcome to 30 Minutes, Antonio. Tell us, why did you quit the cooking business so abruptly, and why do some people now call you a food fascist?
Hello, Morley, and thank you for having me on your wonderful show. This food fascism is all a bunch of bullshit. I just got fed up with the limits and the borders that modern day cooking of food was forcing me into. Allow me to explain for your audience. You see, food preparation was doomed over 1,000 years ago by the uninventive people who designed recipes way back in those days so long ago.
Really? Please explain more for our audience.
Gladly, Morley, I would love to explain. Now let's take Italian food, for instance, from where my own home country is. And I will show you the hypocrisy and the redundancy in the food that has been celebrated as one of the most popular foods in the world today. Okay, Morley, you walk into an Italian restaurant. You pick up a menu, and there's at least 45 or 50 choices on the menu. But you see, that is where all the hypocrisy comes in. If you look a little closer at that menu, you will see that there is truly only one item on the entire menu. It's the same exact dish, just served in many different presentations. You see a lasagna, spaghetti, meatballs manicotti, stuffed shells, and gnocchi. They're all the same exact dish. It's all just tomato paste with the meat and some cheese and a pasta in different shapes. Do you see the hypocrisy of it all, Morley? For Christ's sakes, a stromboli and a calzone are identical. The only difference is in the shape of the bread. Is that why I went to culinary school, to the tune of $100,000 that I owe today in student loans, so I could go somewhere and cook the same exact damn dish over and over again? No! I will not do it, and this is where this food fascism name came from. I would never cook again.
I really think you're taking this way too seriously. You could cook something else besides Italian, couldn't you?
Like a what else? How about another ethnic dish that's very popular in America today? Mexican. Well, let's look at that. A burrito, a tamale, a taco, nachos, a flautas, tostadas, and enchiladas. They're all the same exact ingredients in the same exact dish that they're serving to you, just in a different shapes. I can no longer even talk about cooking anymore. I am a food artiste, not a food robot. I quit the phone business, I quit the food, I quit the restaurant business, and I quit this stupid interview. I'm out of here.
Okay, well, I can certainly understand why they call him the food fascist. Now on to our next guest, and that would be Chef Benetton of the Rainbow Vista restaurant. And as I mentioned earlier, this chef has become famous for putting his opposite views of Chef Andolini's into the exciting food he cooks, which has made his restaurant the #1 restaurant in all of New York City. Welcome, Chef Benetton, and would you please share the secret of your success with our audience? I'd be very happy to, Morley. First of all, when dealing with food preparation, you have to have genuine love for the individuals you're preparing it for. You see, I watched the rise and fall of the great Chef Andolini, and as a matter of fact, I studied his career from his brilliant beginning to his desperate and sad fall into food fascism. Really? That sounds so extreme. Could you please explain to our viewers? Well, as I was saying to you, you have to love in your heart to be a great chef. And Chef Andolini must have forgotten that golden rule. Instead, he began to despise different ethnic foods because of the similarity of their designs. And then he allowed that notion to slowly turn to hate of the very ancestors who invented these recipes so long ago. And this ate away at him until he could no longer cook. In fact, he was once quoted as saying he would rather make a living giving pedicures than cook again. And believe me, that's very serious. I mean, have you been to a nail salon and seen some of these women's feet? God, I'd rather bathe a rattlesnake. Yes, I have been in nail salons, and yes, you are right about the disgusting feet I saw. But tell us, what did you do to become so popular? You said it was from studying Chef Andolini's rise and fall. Tell our audience, what did you do to become #1? That's easy, Morley. I just kept love in my heart and did the polar opposite of what Chef Andolini did. He despised the overwhelming similarities of the food he was cooking and decided to divorce his career altogether. I sat back and took a long look with love in my heart, and then decided that instead of a divorce, I would marry everything together. Well, that all sounds so wonderful. Please elaborate. I can hardly wait. All the while, when I was watching Chef Andolini being dragged down into a cauldron filled with hate and food fascism, I was doing the opposite by rising like a food phoenix into the hemisphere. I took the hate he had for those old celebrated ethnic dishes and filled them with love, and they instantly catapulted my restaurant into a world of peace, love, and understanding, which resulted in my restaurant, the Rainbow Vista, skyrocketing to the #1 eatery in the Big Apple. That is so beautiful, Chef Benetton. And what are some of the dishes that resulted in replacing hate for love? Well, as I was saying, I just did the polar opposite of what Chef Andolini did. Instead of reacting hatefully to the similarities of food dishes, I decided to bring them all together and wed them into a brand new array of multi-ethnic dishes. For instance, I united Italian and Mexican food together in one of our most popular dishes called the General Enrique Hector Macolino, which is chicken cacciatore rolled in a flour tortilla wrap with a sliced avocado and jalapeno dipping sauce. Or the ever-popular East meets West, which consists of a ribeye steak wrapped around a Maine lobster and then smothered in egg fouillon with all that garlicky sauce. That all sounds so wonderful, Chef Benetton, but please tell us about the dish that you won Entree of the Year with. I know everyone wants to know the story behind that one. Oh yes, you must be talking about our award-winning dish I call World Peace, which I had trademarked and can only be purchased at the Rainbow Vista. Well, tell us, Chef Benetton, can you share the ingredients with us and why you named it World Peace? Absolutely, Morley. After all, it is a trademarked item. The ingredients are shrimp roll mein, borscht soup, antipasta soup, barbecue rib sans the bones, a burrito, a couple of pierogies, Wiener Schnitzel, African peanut soup, a lobster tail, and a quart of mulligatawny soup, all blended together in a giant unification vat. And then eggs and flour are added to make it all stick together. And finally, it's all forced together into a giant baking dish and cooked at 375 degrees for 12 hours straight, and voila, you have the Rainbow Vista's famous entree known as World Peace. And while you're enjoying this terrific dish at my restaurant, we have you surrounded by all the little figurines we purchased from the ride at Disney. It's a small world after all. You know that one? It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. Yes, that's the World Peace at the Rainbow Vista, a dish that melts all the world's foods together to promote world peace. Isn't it a beautiful thing? Well, yes, Chef Benetton, you have truly created a very beautiful thing. And that is it for this edition of 30 Minutes on the Joe Nolfo Show. So please remember to hit the like and subscribe button, or else we will never achieve world peace. I'm Morley Danger, and believe you me, I'm gone.
Man, what a film, huh? The Food Fascist. Can you imagine that he just walked away from like being the #1 Italian chef in Vegas? Isn't that crazy?
That is wild.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, getting back to the story here, now we're at the cooking segment here. And this right here, as everybody knows, are shrimps. That is nothing new. Everybody's been known for since caveman was on the earth what a shrimp is. But what's unique to Las Vegas in this, as the presentation of the shrimp right here with the cocktail sauce in the middle, in the martini glass, that was invented in the 50s in Las Vegas, and that has become an icon of Las Vegas. You see those everywhere you go, especially in the buffets. And the other thing is, you always see it when you're walking down Las Vegas Boulevard. You see the big street signs, and it's prime rib $1.99, prime rib. And the reason why they're losing money to give you that $1.99 is they want to get you in, give you a couple free drinks, and then
get you on the table.
Get you on the table. So that's why they're so cheap. So if you've ever eaten a prime rib there, and it's really rare and good, and you talk, man, I can't cook that at my own house. Why can't I cook that at my own house? The reason why is because the Las Vegas technique of cooking a prime rib is called a deep fried prime rib. Now, if you look over here in this oil bowl right here, you don't really need to sink it underwater like you do like fried shrimp and stuff. You just put some olive oil or vegetable oil, peanut oil, whatever you like, and you let it get nice and hot like this. And this is how you do it. You're going to listen to the sizzle when I lay it in there. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Now we put a little lid on it just to keep that stuff from splattering because I'm so pretty, I don't want them little red spots all over my head. But, you know, while that's cooking, when I look at these shrimp here, it always makes me think of Tony Tonga and the Mystic Waterfall, my book.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because he was out there harvesting shrimp and the clams and the oysters for the pearls and all that. But
just the presentation of it. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, Tony Tonga, that's a fantastic book, Joe. I got to tell you. I mean, even more than myself, and I love it, but my girl loves that book, hands down. She said that that's her favorite out of all your books.
Tony Tonga and the Mystic Waterfall, you can order it right on Amazon. My name, you know, Joe Nolfo, and my mother, who passed away in the last year, that was her favorite book. I mean, because she always disapproved of what I wrote, because the first 2 books I wrote were like a maniacal killers and serial killers, and she was like, well, why can't you write something nice? So I was kind of inspired to write that book by her. Nice. And I mean, let's face it, it's like a damn Disney film, you know what I mean?
It's very family friendly. Yeah, everybody can get a read on that one.
Yeah, I really like that book. It's fantastic. So, all right, back to our prime rib here. The only thing I want to do now, because I got such hot, is I don't want to happen what's happening right here. We don't want it to stick in the oil.
Uh-huh.
So you got to make sure you get that baby, get some oil out from underneath that thing. Mm-hmm. You smelling that yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at
now that's what they have featured in all those buffets there in Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah. They
always talking about it.
Some of them order the full rib that's already pre-cooked to save time, and no matter how rare you order that prime rib, it never comes out rare enough the way I like it, because it's already pre-cooked and it's cheaper. But when you go to the ones and they bring those big ones as big as a damn cowboy boot, and they're oily, and man, you put that sea salt on it, and boy, I gotta tell you. So anyway, let's go ahead and flip this baby right now. Be careful not to drop that stuff on yourself. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's coming together there.
A little prematurely there, but that's all right. We'll get it out. You hear it sizzling, Lucky?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, babe. Okay.
I can smell it now.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do when we get it out here is we're gonna put a little sea salt on it before I cut it up, and we're gonna put a little pepper. And I gotta tell you, this is essential. It's a little bit of seasoned salt. It's got the garlic and everything in it. Nice. That is really, really good. So anyway, Lucky, you want to try one of these shrimps?
Sure.
Go ahead, let's try one. Dip that. These babies are nice. Oh yeah.
Shrimp cocktail. That's what plumes up right there.
That's gonna be hard to pass that one up. When you eat those, you always pinch them. Get the rest of that meat out.
There you go.
If you don't want the cattle, eat it. All right, here we go. Let's make sure this baby. Oh yeah. Oh, there it goes now. Okay. Yep. Just a couple more minutes on that. So anyway, I know you read Tony Tong and the Mist Waterfall, but did you read The King of Johnny Mangoes, my other book yet?
I did read King of Johnny Mangoes.
That is the most ironic, funny ending that I've ever read anywhere. If I have any talent at all for writing books, it's the ending of them.
Yeah.
Because I read a lot. I'm a constant, voracious reader, and I read a lot of these books by other people, big names. I don't want to mention any names.
Sure.
But, I mean, big names, the kind of guys that every 3 months they have another book out. Right when you walk in the bookstore, it's right in your face, And they write these great books. They over-explain things, I think, too much. Like the guy gets in the car and we got to read 3 or 4 pages of what the inside of the car looks like. I don't like that, but I can put up with it. And then they get this great, fantastic book going, and the suspense is building and building and building. And then at the end of the book, they say, he was sneaking up on the guy and he heard him. And he turned around and he shot him. And I'm like.
And it drops off. I know exactly.
There was there was no irony, there was no bang, there was no explosion. It was just, I felt like I was watching CSI, or something. After all, I just read 400 pages, and that's all you got to give me for an ending. I mean, that's where I think my books differ a lot. Is that I always have super great explosive endings.
I would definitely agree with that.
One more clip. What do you think, Cam?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, gotta be careful now because we're dealing with some real hot oil there, baby. You're gonna give this one just a couple more minutes, Lucky.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, what temperature are you gonna cook that, or how are you gonna cook it? I mean,
I'm deep frying it, buddy, and I'm just eyeing it. All I want to do now is I want to get this a little crispy on the edges. I just want to have a little bit crisp so when you cut it.
There it is.
And that's the way a deep fried steak is. It's crispy, it's dark on the edges, and then when you cut it, you don't cut a big chunk of it, you cut it in thin layers. And it's usually just pink as it can be in the middle, and it just melts in your mouth. In fact, I'm going to turn this off now because in just a minute here, we're going to be trying this. You ready, Lucky?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, let's give it a shot at it. And I got to tell you, when I eat steak, I like it rare. In fact, I've been known to even take a steak out of the package and not even cook it. I'm serious.
It's great.
So I hope you're not offended by the rarity of this steak that's coming out, but I promise you one thing. It's gonna be rare.
I don't think I can be offended by that steak.
Just like when they pull the damn French fries out of McDonald's, they should drip a little bit off. Okay, now let me season it, Leo, and I'm gonna cut you a piece.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna get it off that heat. Okay, you ready for this? Get ready.
Let's see what you got.
Okay, season this right here. We got some pepper right here. Oh yeah, that's fresh ground pepper I just got out of my other pepper grinder. And then of course we got a little sea salt right here. Oh yeah. Don't ever use the iodized salt. Always use that damn sea salt. And just a little bit of my favorite brand of sea salt. Just sprinkle that orange across. Ooh, look at that. Lord have mercy. All right, get ready because we're gonna change your religion on the way you eat steak. Because I know you, and I know that you don't eat that. I know you don't eat it rare like you should. Let me get that. Let me cut that little bit of fat off the back. I know you're a picky eater. Yeah. So here, Leo, I want you to judge this for me, and I want you to give me a heads up. Here's your fork. Give that a try and season. Look at the color on that. Hold up that. Hold that up and show that color.
Y'all see that?
Man, look at that. You can hardly wait. Oh yeah.
Look at that. That's a deep fried, huh?
Cheers.
Cheers, bro.
Oh. Just melts in your mouth, don't it? You see what the oil does to it? It literally just melts in your mouth. Is that unbelievable?
Oh my goodness, that's a different.
Man.
That's a different texture of a steak right there. You are absolutely right. I usually don't eat it.
Yeah.
Rare, but I can mess with that there.
Yeah, try that piece there, buddy.
Right.
Let me try that.
Now, sea salt really brings out the flavor of the meat there.
Wow.
Mmm.
Took my breath away. All right, well, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed our cooking segment today on Las Vegas with our iconic prime rib and our iconic shrimp. Now we're going to cut away for a few minutes so that we can consume this.
Yeah.
And then when it's done, we'll be right back, and Lucky Leo's going to be here, and he's going to teach you how to make a classic drink from Las Vegas called the Atomic Cocktail. This drink was actually used to promote people to come in. They tried to make it sound like the only place you could have an atomic cocktail. They didn't like to put out the ingredients, the recipe. So a lot of people, back in the 50s, they were more naive than they are nowadays. They would storm in there and they would lose all their money gambling, and then when they got sad because they lost all their money, they would go drink atomic cocktails and forget about it.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back in a second, and when we come
I'm
back,
looking forward to
Lucky
it.
Leo's going to be here to make an atomic cocktail, a champagne cocktail. Thanks for sharing the food section with us. We'll be right back.
Back here at the drinking corner at the Drunken Cockatoo, as Madman Joe had mentioned, we are making an atomic cocktail, famously invented in Vegas in the 50s. All right, guys, so here we're going to start with 1.5 ounces of vodka. All right, as I mix this up for you guys. And we're going to do equal parts. The recipe calls for brandy. So we're going to get some brandy in there. Here we go. Get some brandy going in there. Alright. And now the recipe calls for just 1/2 ounce in there. Alright. There we go. And like I said, we're gonna finish it off with some champagne. Here we got some chilled champagne for y'all. See if I can get this thing open. All right. Got a little hectic there for a second, but we're all right. So we're just gonna mix this up for you. That is the Atomic Cocktail. famous for Vegas. In closing, y'all, here at the Drunken Cockatoo, we just want to say, Jimmy, we miss you. We love you. See you next time on the Drunken Cockatoo.
Venus Schnitzel. Venus Schnitzel.
Do it over again. I'll do it again from the top. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Jesus, I couldn't. Oh, God.
That's a rough one there, buddy. Hey, by the way, it's not Wiener Schnitzel. You got to say it with a V.
Venus Schnitzel.
Wiener Schnitzel.